I rise today to ask my members in this caucus to support my mining bill, HB 4227, a committee on Michigan's mining future. A lot of you have asked me, why do we need a committee? It's just advisory. We can do that throughout the departments. What's the real push for this bill? And in 2015, when we had the idling of one of our 2 iron ore mines in the UP, we saw a drastic loss of 400 jobs that equated to about $50 million in salaries and benefits in our community. A bunch of us got together and said, how did this happen? This was one of our workhorse mines. It's the backbone that's been there for 170 years in our region. How did we let it simply close? We started looking at what other states have done. Other states that have a similar economy, similar size, similar workforce in mining as Michigan. And we looked to Minnesota. And back in 2004, that state came up with a long-term vision because they were convinced that mining was not a thing of the past, but that mining, the metals that we take out of the ground and use each and every day, the mining that makes sure that we have autonomous vehicles and medical devices and everything that we use in our cell phones, computers, to do the things we do to make sure that not only our state but our nation remains at the forefront in the world, requires it. So their governor at the time, Governor Pawlenty, put together a 15-member board that he wanted advice from. They were mostly made up of industry leaders, people that knew what the state could do, even though they couldn't control a global market. So a group of us said, you know what? Why isn't Michigan doing the same thing? And when I got down here last year, I started to talk to people, started to talk to department heads. I started to talk to other colleagues and explain to them the importance and what this could do for Michigan. So the bill that I introduced went a step further than Minnesota. Not only did we have industry and labor listed as some of the 15 positions, but we also made sure we had researchers from our state universities. We also made sure we had environmental groups to hear the concerns on how we protect our environment and how that fits into mining. And we also made sure that we had a member of one of our Native American tribes. When we looked at what we wanted to focus on, that was also pretty clear. Our legislative and government policies, taxes, royalties. In Minnesota, what they were doing with their taxes, they weren't simply putting it towards a general fund. They were actually taking portions of those mining taxes and asking the companies to step up and say, we want to help you be better. We want to help you reinvest in our state. And if you step up, we will match your grants for research at our universities to make sure that our mines are sustainable and don't go through bust and boom cycles. They also took a long, hard look at environmental quality. What are their policies? What are the permitting requirements? Are they fair? What is their land management policies that they want to use? Can we have part of our university be specific to mining and applied research? And last, what about transportation and energy? These are long-term factors that what people don't realize is mining is the most labor-intensive, capital-intensive industry, and you can't simply shift route when you're going through it 5 years in. It typically is a 30 to a 40 to a 50-year plan. So why this bill now? I told you a little bit about one of the mines shutting down that's currently idled. But the other thing that I realized is that we need improved coordination among stakeholders, and we need to make sure when we have the most stringent term limits in the nation, that after I'm gone and after you're gone, after our governor's gone, that somehow we have a long-term strategic plan going forward. This does not just include our iron mines in my district. our metallic mines in my district, but every single county in this state has aggregates that are an important part of what we need to do to rebuild our infrastructure in Michigan. So people ask, can we do this? Is it safe? Do we really want mining in Michigan when we can just get it somewhere else? And I go back to the professor that changed my mind about mining forever. He gave a talk and simply said, if you do not want mining here where those minerals are, do you have a right to demand that those minerals you use every day in your life be mined somewhere else? And I had to answer that question honestly that day and realize that not only do these mines in my community provide tremendous financial gains for my citizens, but they're important for the state of Michigan, in total providing $5 billion towards our annual GDP. So I'm asking you today to step up to help me make sure that we continue mining in Michigan, that we have the right people at the table advising our governor on where we need to go next, and to look forward to the things we can do. Right now, we don't have a pellet, and I do have some iron ore pellets at my desk that can be melted with recycled steel. Minnesota does. That's the future of mining. Right now, Michigan doesn't recycle any of our precious metals, and our cell phones, our computers, our TVs. Let's try to do that. So if we want all the things in our modern lives, we need mining. But we can do it better, we can do it more efficient, and I need all of you to come over and help me make that possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.